Hi, you're very welcome to this session of Excel Snacks, what I call 20 minutes of Excel goodness. I'm delighted to see you here. Everybody's here. If you are listening to the recording, you're also very welcome. I'm here with my co-host and producer, Lauros, who is also my son, which is great. Delighted to have him here doing this to me. He'll be letting you in, letting you out, and minding the chat and so on. All right, so let us commence and let us kick off and get stuck into this particular topic. All right. So what we're just going to start on here, all right, this evening is about, or this afternoon even is about what I call Excel Snacks rolling in the worksheets. Apologies to Adele, that fine singer who has her song Rolling in the Deep. There'll be no singing, I hasten to add, in this particular presentation, okay? Because what we're talking about here are these things at the bottom of your workbook called tabs or worksheets, all right? So a little bit about me, all right? My name is Anne Walsh. I'm living in the west of Ireland. My website is the Excel Expert down there at the bottom. Freelance Excel trainer since the mid-90s. I'd like to hasten to add there, that is the 1990s, not the 1890s. I've written a couple of books. Your Excel Survival Kit, Your Guide to Surviving in an Excel World, the second edition, just hit the shops there lately. All right, a bit of a light read there for yourself over the weekend. I've also written a couple of other books as well. How to create great reports in Excel, get and transform data, create great reports in Word, and how to track your training records in Excel. And they're all available on Bookboom. And I'm also currently writing another bodice ripping thriller about pivot tables, which I know you'll all be madly excited about, because that's what the effect pivot tables have on people. I love movies, pun, and crime fiction. Married for 27 years. I have one son who is a software engineer. I'm going to blame his mother for that. Mothers get blamed for everything, so why not for that? Okay. So just a little bit about what we're going to learn in this 20 minutes. Okay, a little bit about what I call worksheet housekeeping. Okay, we're going to talk a little bit about group data entry, if you need to do all for one, one for all, and a tiny bit about creating formulas across tabs or worksheets. Okay. So let us talk a little bit about this now. Some other stuff as well, also want to mention, yes, this will be recorded. I did press the record button and we sent out afterwards with the file. I will probably do it in the next 24 to 48 hours. If you haven't got it next week, email me and let me know. And I will send it on to you post haste. This is the second in the current series. I'm running 4 this month. Details of the other 2, which are on printing, and a great thing in Excel called Power Query, which is for data cleansing. Those are the other 2 that will be running every Friday, 12:40. If you have any questions, you can ask them in the chat. Okay. All right, so we're going to talk about this thing called tabs and worksheets. Right. So let's see a little bit about this. Now, those are the things at the bottom of your screen. Okay. Now I'm going to give you a demo in a few minutes, but basically you have one location and you right click on your tab. Okay. Now, apparently there used to be a limit of 255, but according to a gentleman on LinkedIn, he said that he created a macro to see how many he could create, as you do, and he got up to 300 tabs at the bottom. Okay? But if you kind of remember that the key thing is that you just want to be able to, just want to be able to kind of like right click on the tab at the bottom. Most of what you need is going to be there. So we're going to talk a little bit about housekeeping. What do I mean by that? Going to add new ones, color code them, move, copy them, hide and unhide them, and delete them. Those are the main things we're going to focus on. So what we're going to look at next then is we're going to look at group entry. But before we do that, I'm going to go over here and we're going to have a little demo on the housekeeping bit. Okay, so let me go down here now to share my screen again. All right, so here we are. Laura, can I just check that we're seeing the hobbitses? Give me a thumbs up, Laura, if you're on the hobbitses. Yes. Just check it out, seeing the hobbitses. Yep, lovely, thank you. Right. So I do like my hobbitses. All right, I use these names regularly, got from a fake name generator website. Okay, so down here at the bottom of your tabs. So first of all, let's look here. You create a new one. Literally click on new sheet. Simple as that. All right. If you want to color code it, again, right click and you go to tab color, and then you can change your colors there as required. You don't see them properly until you kind of click on the next one. I'll change that one as well to a nice shade of green. To move it, the easiest way to move a sheet is to just literally pick it up, imagine it's a piece of luggage, and drag it to the new position. That's the easiest way to move it. Okay. If you want to make a copy of a sheet, You do what you've just done there, but you press the control key, keep it pressed down, and then drag it over to the right as well. That makes a copy. That's the quickest way to make a copy of something. If you want to hide your sheet, right click and hide. All right. Okay. Now, just to say, the cryptography of this is not what you might call CIA level, because if you go into an Excel sheet that has sheets hidden, right click, whoa, look there, unhide is available to you. Okay. And a new feature that has come out recently is to allow you to unhide more than 2 sheets, which was something that was being looked for in the Excel community for many years. All right, so I just have that one, unhide it. You can also delete a sheet. Now, deleting a sheet is one of those, what I call a Dougal moment. Those of you who are familiar with Dougal in Father Ted, he's in the plane, he's pressing the big red button that says don't press it. If you delete a sheet, it's gone, really gone. Not like one of those advertisements where they tell you about the couches that are gone, really gone. No, if you delete it, there is no undo on deleting a sheet. So of course, I'm going to live dangerously and click on delete. And it says, permanently delete the sheet. Do you want to continue? And I'm going to close my eyes and say yes. Okay. So you need to be aware of that. There's no undo on that particular one. Now there's one other thing you can do, which is very handy, which is that you can move this to another workbook. So for example, if I have a scenario here and I want to give this to somebody else, I just want to give them this bit, I can go move or copy, okay, and then I can choose if I want to put it into a new book, and then tick the box that says create a copy. Now, in my opinion, that create a copy should always be ticked by default, because you know yourself, technology, the day you move it without making a copy is the day it will disappear into cyberspace. Okay, so you just go move or copy, and if I click OK, right, and just bear with me now a second, what's going to happen is that when I go, this is my copy, and I know it's the copy because up here it says book 1, right? Not the file that I had originally, and there's only one sheet down here as well. So this is what I could actually send to somebody if I wanted to. Now let's go back to my original one. Okay. Now I'm going to do one more thing here, right? So that's just a little bit on what I call the housekeeping bit of it. One other thing I want to mention as well, if I go down here to the bottom left-hand corner where I've got my 2 little back-to-back arrows, I always think of those people going for a duel, all right, on those Bridgerton things. Right click, you see there, that gives you like a whole bunch of where you can quickly navigate to other sheets. That is really useful if you have a workbook, let's say with 20, 25 sheets. So if you kind of like, as I like to say, making like a seal going, trying to go back and forth, click on that and you can just say activate without formulas, and it hops you into that sheet. Now, I'm just going to do one more thing at the moment, and then I'm just going to check where we're at for questions. Okay. The next thing I just want to look at here is a thing called group entry. All right. So a group entry means, all right, and we just zip back here now to my PowerPoint just for a second, because I'm a great expense to myself. There we go. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, you should be seeing all for one and one for all. Let me just check that now. Yes. All right, lovely. So at great expense to myself, I managed to get a picture of 3 musketeers, which of course has 4 musketeers in it. All right. And the idea here is that if you want to put everything into the same place across multiple workbooks, worksheets, you can do a thing called activate group entry. So again, the other thing about the flip side of that though is don't forget to deactivate it. Otherwise it can, it's like it's gone completely a bit bonkers, if you like. So again, let's see what that looks like in practice. Go back to my habits. Okay. So if you look here, for example, I've got 3 sheets at the bottom, without formulas, with formulas, and sheet 1. Right? So I'm going to turn on group entry, and I'm going to click on this cell here, which is K7. And basically anything I put into K7 under group entry will go into K7 into all of them. So I come down here to this one, I do a right click, right? And then I do a thing called select all sheets. Now, a couple of things I want you to notice when I do select all sheets. Right? 2 things happen. Up here at the very top, you can just about see it. It says group. So the word group appears after your file name at the top. And at the bottom, those 3 sheets all go pale. All right, probably with thought of excitement of the group entry thing. And if I click in here, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put down Moderna vaccine. because this was on my mind at the moment. Okay, so I've just entered it into this cell here. Now, when I go back and I click on without formulas, there it is. If I click on with formulas, there it is. If I click on sheet 1, there it is. Okay, so you just need to be careful when you've turned on group entry. Okay, so if I turn on group entry, select all sheets, usually by default what happens is that if you click on another sheet, it's turned off. But if for some reason it doesn't turn off, you're looking for that thing up there that says group, and you just go right click, and there's an option here that says ungroup all sheets. So just to bear that in mind. 90% of the time when you click on the other sheet, it just does it automatically. But also that's the thing about, don't forget to deactivate it. Okay. Now I'm just going to stop the share for a second, see if there's any quick questions before I go on to the last bit. Okay, Son, any questions from anyone? All struck by the beauty of Excel. Glad to see you all here as well. Everybody is rocked up. Thank you. All right. Okay, if you have any questions, lash them into the chat and I will try and get to them before the end of the session. Right. Now, the next bit I'm going to go on to is just your formulas. Okay, what they call the 3D formulas. As I like to say, like many things in Excel, not as exciting as it sounds. All right, and just here we go. All right, so here you have a scenario. All right, so Laura's can just check. I can see the Morkin heating thingamabob. Just check that for a second. Flash that to me in the chat. Yep, lovely, brilliant. All right, so here you have a scenario where you've got three, down here at the bottom, you've got 3 worksheets, one for Galway, one for Cork, one for Limerick, and one for Summary. Right. Now, ideally, what you do is there's an option that says view and arrange all, and you can have them all on the screen at the same time. The Zoom gods do not always smile on that particular arrangement in my experience. So what I'm going to do here is just make sure you get the idea of it. So what I want to do is that in Galway, I have January travel expenses. Everything is in the same location. Same thing with Cork, with Limerick, and Summary. So you begin in the summary sheet where you want the answer to go. Start with equals. Same as the start button on your car. Go to Galway, click here, and then go plus. Go to Cork, this one, then go plus, and then Limerick, and this one. And if you look up here in the formula bar, you'll see that it says Galway exclamation mark, which basically translates mean the name of the sheet Galway. All right, B3. I then press enter. Now when I do that, that gives me this one here. And if everything is in the same location and I'm adding like with like, I can put them all together. Now at the moment you can see there my January travel expenses are saying they're 387. So let me go back to Galway, currently 45. And let's say increase that to 4,500. As you do. All right, let's say I've bought myself a helicopter. Go to my summary sheet. It's updated automatically to reflect that. Right? So that's essentially how we'd use, and they're called 3D formulas. I'm just popping into the chat there now, 3D formulas. And it's just, if you have to add across worksheets, that's kind of like a really handy way to do so. I might just show you one other little trick on that one, and then we will start wrapping it up. A little handy trick you can use, assuming that everything, all your January travel expenses, for example, on the same location, equals sum, open left bracket, go to Galway, click on this one up here, and then if you just go down to the last sheet on the right hand side, hold down my shift key, press Limerick. Up here it says Galway to Limerick B3, right, which translated means take B3 in all the sheets from Galway to Limerick inclusive, and then press enter. Right, and I get the same answer again. So if you had a lot of them to do, that could be a useful trick. Now I'm going to go back into my Galway and I'm going to put it back to 45 because I realize that my helicopter is in the garage. Okay. And I'm just going to stop the share for a second. All right. Any questions at this point? I'll just pop them in the chat. I'll come off mute. Don't forget, it will be recorded. That's the good news. All right, okay. All right, so those are the main topics I kind of wanted to cover in this thing of like called rolling in the worksheets. And I'm just going to go back up here again. Okay. All right. So there's my friends. All right. Just touch their 3D formulas. Not as exciting as you think. If only it was like that, 3D animation. Do the formulas across the worksheets and can do them for summaries. Very, very handy. Okay. Right. Now, a little bit more now. Upcoming Excel, 20-minute snacks. I have next week, it's going to be for printing. Put down the scissors, glue and staples. As I always like to say, if I had €1 for every time the horror stories I've heard about printing, I should be in the Cayman Islands by now, or some other socially appropriate tax haven. Okay. And the other one then at the last day of the month is a peek into Power Query. Basically, if you have a scenario where you have to clean up the same file every week, take the spaces out, take the columns out, take the totals out, same thing every week. And what you can do is you can automate that a little bit more using a thing called Power Query, which comes as part of the Excel suite. It's built into it. Of course, in typical IT fashion, all the people are familiar with it, call it Power Query, but on the Excel ribbon, it's called Get and Transform Data. And all the details and links will be in the follow-up email, and they're all free as long as you register, etc., etc. Right. So I'm just going to stop the share for a moment, see if we have any questions, because we've got about 4 minutes left. Otherwise, I'll wrap it up a bit early. Any questions? Short and sweet. That was like a very fast donkey, I have to say. All right, lovely. Thanks, Lillian. You're welcome. All right. Anybody else? If you have any quick questions now, lovely. You're welcome. Okay. Okay, then, ladies and gentlemen, we will actually finish up like 4 minutes early, which is great. You can all have a little bit extra cup of tea, etc. I'm going to stop the recording, and that, like I said, it will be out to you in the next, hopefully, for 24 to 48 hours. That is the plan. All right. So, all right.